You know that feeling you get a rapid medical test, see the result pop up in minutes, and the tiny voice in your head asks, wait, can I really trust this thing? Well, it turns out Dubai is taking that question very, very seriously. They've just put new standards in place for these tests, and we're going to break down what that actually means for patients. Let's dive in.
I mean, think about it. We've all been there, right? A quick finger prick for your blood sugar, a swab for the flu, and boom, you've got an answer before you even leave the doctor's office. It's super convenient. But have you ever stopped to wonder what's guaranteeing that quick result is also the right result? So in the medical world, this has a name. It's called point-of-care testing, or POCT. And the whole idea is pretty simple. Get vital information and get it fast, right there with the patient. It's all about giving doctors the tools to make smart decisions on the spot. And honestly, it's been a total game changer.
But here's the catch. With all that speed, a huge question pops up. When you're making big decisions about your health based on these little devices, you have to be 100% sure that the results are rock solid. Speed is fantastic, but it can't ever come at the cost of accuracy. And that's the big puzzle for health regulators everywhere.
So how do you solve that? How do you make sure that the test you get right at your bedside is just as trustworthy as one that's sent off to a big, fancy lab? Well, that's the exact problem Dubai is setting out to fix.
The Dubai Health Authority, you'll see them called the DHA, has rolled out a whole new set of standards, and they're aimed squarely at this point-of-care testing. The entire goal is to make sure every single rapid test in Dubai is safe, accurate, and completely reliable. And here's what makes this such a big deal. Before, the rules were just guidelines. You can think of those as strong suggestions, best practices. But now they're called standards, and that means they are mandatory, non-negotiable requirements. This isn't friendly advice anymore, it's the law.
And this isn't just some policy paper that's going to sit on a shelf and collect dust. It's a real commitment from Dubai's main health authority. The DHA is building a system to guarantee that when you and your doctor get a rapid test result, you can both act on it with absolute confidence.
You can see that this isn't some random idea that came out of nowhere. It plugs right into the DHA's bigger mission. It's a crucial piece of their plan to build a healthcare system that's all about trust, quality, and putting the patient first.
Okay, so who exactly has to play by these new rules? You might be surprised by how wide-reaching this is.
The DHA is really casting a wide net here. We're not just talking about the big hospitals. This applies to everyone. Day surgery centers, your local clinic, even healthcare providers who come to your home, and convalescence houses. The bottom line is, if you're giving medical care in Dubai and using rapid tests, these rules apply to you. Period.
All right, so we know who this is for, but what do they actually have to do? Well, the new standards are built on a few key ideas, and a huge one is the equipment itself and how it's looked after.
The first, and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, is the actual testing device. I mean, it's common sense, right? You can't get a good result from a bad machine. So what's the new bar for the equipment that gets used on patients?
The DHA has set up a really smart two-step approval process. First, every single device has to be registered right here in the UAE with the Ministry of Health. But they don't stop there. It also needs to have the seal of approval from at least one major international health authority.
And we are talking about the heavy hitters here. The gear has to meet the tough standards of groups like the FDA in the United States, Health Canada, or have that CE mark you see in Europe. This sets a seriously high bar for quality before a device even gets in the door.
But look, buying a top-of-the-line machine is only half the job. Even the best equipment in the world can give you bad results if it's not maintained properly. So the new standards tackle that head-on.
And here's the rule. Every single piece of rapid testing equipment has to be officially checked for its accuracy at least once a year. No exceptions. The easiest way to wrap your head around it is to think of it like an annual physical, but for the machine. It's a required checkup to make sure the device is still working exactly like it's supposed to. So the result it gives you on day 365 is just as accurate as the one it gave on day 1. Okay, we've talked about the what and the how. Now, let's get to the most important question of all. Why does any of this matter to you?
It all comes down to this one powerful idea. We all want faster answers when it comes to our health, but a fast answer is totally worthless if it's the wrong answer. These new standards are all about protecting the integrity of your diagnosis.
So for you, as a patient, this means you can have more trust in those quick results. It means your doctor can make better, faster decisions using information they know they can rely on. And all of that adds up to a higher quality of care and, most importantly, better safety for you and your family.
At the end of the day, these standards create a whole new recipe for healthcare in Dubai. By making this level of quality control a must-do, the DHA is making sure that every rapid test, at every clinic, for every single patient, hits the exact same high bar for safety and reliability.
And that leaves us with one final thought. You know, a lot of us hear regulation and we just think of red tape. But in healthcare, that regulation is what builds trust. So the question is, does knowing that these strict, globally recognized standards are working behind the scenes, does that make you feel more confident in the medical tech we're all starting to rely on?